Picasso was never called that.
Except he probably was called that because he kinda was one. Let's get weird. We'll get to good old Pablo in a second, but first a side note. I've been looking over the more recent videos from this channel, and frankly, doing so has bored me to tears. Mind you, there were some high points, mainly because of my kids, an astronomer, and some ancient crackers, but I just don't feel they're up to snuff. The answer? Get weirder. Let's geek out on weird. Let's not just talk about people, let's talk about weird people, or at least what's weird about the not so weird people. Not just cars, weird cars. Not just science, weird science. Not that weird science, this weird science. Incidentally, I've met Kelly LeBrock. Not that Kelly LeBrock, this Kelly LeBrock. Let's talk about the weird things in our world. You're probably familiar with Pablo Escobar, and you've heard his cartel story, which is okay, but did you know he caused a hippopotamus problem in South America? I recently did a video about Fiat. Interesting? Sure. Weird? Not so much. That's getting closer. That's a Citron Picasso. Picasso, now there's one weird dude. Good old Pablo Picasso, whereas his mother knew him. Pablo Diego Jose Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno Maria de los Remedios Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso. He was born October 25th, 1881, and the midwife thought he was a stillborn, so she placed baby Picasso over on a table to tend to his mother. And apparently in all this confusion, his uncle Don Salvador Ruiz, who was a doctor, decided he should blow cigar smoke in the baby's face. It's thought that Pablo suffered acute perinatal asphyxia, which caused pulmonary vasoconstriction. In other words, he was suffocating in the baby chute and the blood vessels in his lungs collapsed. But apparently tobacco smoke contains a good amount of nitric oxide. So he got the nos. Not nitrous oxide, nitric oxide. And apparently our bodies use it as a signal to our blood vessels to relax and open up. They still use it on babies with lung problems. So now that cigar smoke doesn't seem like such a dumb idea, does it? By the way, you know Picasso for this, but he could absolutely do this. The only career he ever knew was art, and he died a very rich man because of it. But when he first moved to France at the age of 19, he was so broke, he was burning his own paintings to stay warm. Nicole, what's Pablo Picasso say?
I'm always doing things I can't do. That's how I get to do them.
Of course, he also said there are two kinds of women, goddesses and doormats. And Pablo certainly treated some of those goddesses like doormats. Picasso was known as a flagrant womanizer, but he had some standards. He definitely had a type. Young. Whoa, Pablo, the rock star rule is half your age plus 7. Pablo was married to Olga Koklova from 1918 to 1955, but he carried on 3 other significant relationships during that marriage. He split with Olga in 1928, but he didn't make it official because French law at the time required equal distribution of wealth in case of divorce. When he met Marie-Therese, she was only 17, and you know what I mean. He had already fathered a son, Paolo, with Olga, and then he went on to father a daughter with Marie-Therese. He got together with Dora Maar in 1936, and then with artist Françoise Guillot in 1943 when he got bored of Dora. And then he went on to father 2 children with Françoise, Claude and Paloma. Side note, Paloma is Spanish for pigeon. He loved pigeons, he painted several of them, and his father raised them as a hobby. I guess she should be thankful it wasn't rats. Picasso separated from Françoise in 1954, but not before having a 6-week affair with Genevieve Laporte. Actually, it was Françoise who left Picasso, unusual for him, and it was a bitter breakup. He blackballed her with art dealers, blocked her from showing her art in galleries, and eventually he refused to have any contact with their kids. I don't think that's true. Right after that ugly breakup, 72-year-old Pablo Picasso married his second wife, 26-year-old Jacqueline Roque. Picasso used to carry around a Browning revolver he'd gotten from the estate of French writer Alfred Jarry. He kept it loaded with blanks, which he would fire at anybody who annoyed him. Sounds reasonable. Picasso worked feverishly in his late years, painting all the way up until 3 a.m. on the day that he died. He was so busy he didn't bother making a will, and then his estate was a nightmare to settle. The French government allowed the inheritance taxes to be paid with some of his works, 3,800 of them to be exact. I've been Christopher, you've been great, thanks for watching, stay out of the comfort zones.